Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It is Markets in the Morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Wednesday, February 19th, 2025. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the cryptocurrency market, including the Bitcoin price chart, along with the altcoin market. We'll look at XRP. Take a look over there at the United States stock market, which is set to open up here in the next 3 minutes. Looks like we'll see the stock market open red, but we've got crypto over there in the green today. We'll look over there at precious metals like gold and silver and the United States Dollar Currency Index, or the DXY. Lastly, we'll peek over there at any type of financial news or crypto news as we get ready to kick off this fine Wednesday. Over the course of the last 4 weeks, still considered to be the best day of the week because last weekend continued to do the exact same stuff we've seen for the last 4 weeks. We had the Argentina coin launch of absolute insanity, rug pull, Dave Portnoy's craziness still going on all out there. And it was just an absolute insane cluster of a weekend once again. So Wednesday still continues to take ownership of being the best day of the week.
It is Wednesday, my
All right, happy Wednesday. Welcome back. All right, so there we go. I was able to turn off the audio that time so we don't have the mess up again. Welcome to Markets in the Morning, guys. In the thick of just kind of a crazy moment in the market. You can see sentiment out there, like we've talked about, man, that it would get pretty rough. And boy, it's been weird. It's been weird. This whole Dave Portnoy stuff, this Argentina stuff happening out there. I have my own theories on the Dave Portnoy stuff because he's had a couple of Freudian slips of what's actually going on with him and Barstool. And boy, he committed the biggest rug pull last night. He always says he's like the most honest guy. But boy, he had a big slip up yesterday. And so we're actually going to be competing against Dave Portnoy because I know that he's going to start his live stream right now. This is, of course, coming off of him yesterday saying, him launching a coin, saying he wasn't going to sell it anytime soon, and then he fully rug pulled it an hour and 10 minutes later. So he's going live right now at the exact same time we are. So we're going to compete against Dave Portnoy right now, which is fine. It'll probably make it a little bit more calmer in here today. But let's go ahead and take a look at the market and see what's going on out here. Bitcoin, wow, so much to talk about here for Bitcoin. As we still continue chopping around in the range, I've presented my own ideas in there, and I've characterized this thing as an incredibly complicated range. Still nothing indicating that it's not an incredibly complicated range. I've presented ideas that, I think... we'd have to see it develop. I just don't have my charts built here. I mean, I can build it really fast, I guess. Right? Like, I don't think, it's not that I don't think. We have to wait and see what's going to end up happening. But, if you end up getting some type of range development happening in here, and then you end up seeing some type of movement happen over here, where, we see some altcoin movement happen throughout the crypto market. Oh, this isn't going to load on the 4-hour chart. A flaw in trading view. If it's going to even load. Well, I'll sit here and ramble until it does. But, if we saw some event happen and this thing just continues distributing in here. But I've been presenting ideas as well of there still being the potential for another rally in there, which of course is different from things that I've thought over the last year. But just kind of presenting that in videos. I'm a huge ramble video. However, I organized it pretty well in the newsletter that I released over the weekend. So I highly recommend you check that out. But, it really stemming back to things that we talked about during the crash and what that was happening in December of 2021. And the idea of how these things end up playing out is that there could still be another parabola that actually ends up being the conclusion of the market. The thing that we would, of course, have to pay attention to in an event like that is whether or not this type of environment would actually show up in here, where we see those 702 retracements come out, and that's where the altcoin market rallies. In the event that this thing turns into a parabola, whether it dips first, whether it doesn't, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that this may not actually show up in that environment. When you get that type of parabola, then it usually concludes itself with a straight line down. And I was thinking about that today because I was looking at a couple of charts, which we'll dive into this one a little bit later. But how different things used to be in this market compared to the way they are now. Like this is the big crash of the summer of 2017. This is one of the bigger crashes, the first ones that I had gone through in the crypto market. This is back in July of 2017. When we would have these crashes, they would be pretty organized. I mean, they'd be painful, they'd be rough, but they'd be relatively organized, lasting over the course of several days. It seems like anytime we get a crash in this market, it's just a full-blown liquidation event that happens in the crypto market these days over the last, several years, which have brought up those things of 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. We're essentially getting them every time there's a correction and a capitulation event, and it ends with just full-blown mass liquidations that happen throughout the crypto market, which really wasn't something that was prevalent in the market back then. And, and that's going to be one of the tricky things if we end up getting a parabola in here, thinking that these things can happen, or, the environment that we're in of how much leverage builds up in the system, that it's just not that same time of market anymore when it comes to how much leverage gets built in here. So that's a topic for totally way out in the future. But, obviously the struggle in here, and I'm humble enough to certainly say this is a challenge for me when it comes to Bitcoin in here, and what this structure is going to finalize itself out and end up being. But, without any type of, if we don't end up just seeing something happening here where the dominance starts breaking and there's like a breakaway happening over here in the altcoin market in something, along the lines of this, right? And that we end up seeing the dominance start crumbling down already in an event like that, then if we don't see that environment emerge itself in here, then I'm going to have to really just kind of lean on that idea that I think we are going to end up seeing a parabola in Bitcoin as well. I feel very fine about the altcoin market. I have no problems over there with the altcoin market, especially when it comes to things like XRP, which we'll touch on here in just a minute. And I would say XRP is kind of like the, what do you call it? Just like a blessing in disguise for the market that we have something like this happening in here, because the market is so wishy-washy all over the place, where you have some things at the all-time high, like XRP, Tron, and Binance Coin. Then you got all your middle of the pack stuff, like your Chainlinks, your Cardanos, your Hederas, and then you got your bottom of the bottom of the mill stuff. Your Polkadots, your Maddox, things that have hit those lows all over again. That the market is so divided on how it's ending up playing out right in here. And then that's going to end up tying back in here to talking about the Russell 2000. So we have way too much to talk about. I need to find a way to be a little bit more organized here as we get ready to speak. But the difficulties on this range in here is like, I presented it on Monday that you could see just to be frank, I have so many alternate views on how this range could break that it's so difficult. And when I say break, I'm not saying I think we're going to break down. If it comes down, it goes back up, and then it goes into distribution, or it goes off into the parabola. I don't think this ends in game over, lights out. I think if there's some type of break, it's more like this, and then we go into a parabola, or we're in the distribution phase that's still just going to continue going on for months in here for Bitcoin. This is not on my bingo card of what I think is happening in here. So when I talk about the ranges and the way I'm looking at it and the ideas that I'm having, it's all about whether or not it's continued distribution or if it's going to lead its way into a parabola. I don't see this on the bingo card yet. For Bitcoin, I just don't see it yet. So when we talk about these things, I'm going to talk about just having humility, being humble on the range, and saying this is a really difficult range in here. On trying to figure out ideas on how it could continue to still be in a distribution structure, or ultimately lead into a parabola. And then when we talk about parabola, of course, you're going to get Bitcoiners wanting to think we're going to 200, 300, $400,000. I'm not talking those levels. I'm talking somewhere in here. I don't have an exact price target for you to predict it, whether it's 140, 160, 180, 120. It just in this area to build a parabola in here, essentially just looking for a 5-wave structure to come in here, and then that ends up being the conclusion of the thing. But I've even reflected on my own thoughts in there of being like, I could imagine it, like we talked about on Monday's video, that there's like some type of dip that comes out of here, and then it goes on and does that. And then of course I've sat here and added own confusion to my own mind, because I'm kind of like, I remember us having something a little bit along those lines back in here, right? In that it ended up just kind of doing something along the lines of this, where it just sort of pulled down in here, created a lot of fear down in here, and then it just ripped to the upside afterwards. And so I'm just going to remain humble on it and say, man, I could see it going either way. I don't have the view that that's the case now. I don't have the view that that's the case now, that this thing is crashing and crumbling. It's all about just extreme complicated range and how it either goes into distribution and we see the dominance start to collapse on itself while the distribution still continues to go on in here, or if there's something that can get the parabola going in here. But due to what I see here, like on XRP, I fully believe we're going to see the altcoins get moving in there. And so for that, I don't see this being the scenario happening in here for Bitcoin. It's a variety of these things happening in here. And I remember this range. So this one is in 2020. I remember when this one played out in here, and I remember how scared the market was during all of that one back down in here, that we're going to collapse on ourselves, and we didn't. There's a variety of things in here. So I'm going to remain humble on the range in here and just continue to say it's complicated until something really develops in here where we get something like what we saw, where if like that element happened in there, where it presented itself, where this thing shoots up in here and we start seeing this stuff. And if we see dominance start to go down like that in that event, well, then now we have something to lean on right now, right? But we don't have that, right? That dominance is still just chilling up in here like this, like it's up in here, right? And so we don't have that information in front of us right now to be able to decipher that. So I still think it's either one. I don't think this goes like that and goes, well, I mean, you could get a dip like that, but I don't think we're crashing. I still think it's just going to be distribution or create a parabola in here. To me, it doesn't really matter on Bitcoin. Even super mega Bitcoin blinded people like Gary Cardone, even posting, hey, look, probably the rest we got in here is $140,000 for Bitcoin. So the narrative just isn't there for Bitcoin anymore. Even like the most bullish of bulls, like the original allurement of Bitcoin, and frankly, why 99% of the people are in Bitcoin and the class of 2021, why they're in Bitcoin, is to make the ultimate unreal gains. If the highest target that even the biggest Bitcoin maxis can make for themselves is $140,000, that's not going to do the trick. That's not going to be good enough for them. Nobody comes to crypto for that. Like, it's just a reality. Everybody here knows it. Like, we're talking about price targets on XRP of like $8 to $10, and people are infuriated by those numbers, right? They want massive numbers in there. We're talking 200% or something like that from where we're at right now. That's still like a 2,000% rise for the whole bull run. People are not happy with that, right? So you're talking another 40% on Bitcoin. I just don't think there's the allurement there for that. So anyway, it's still just going to be continued until clarity arrives here in Bitcoin on what this range structure is going to continue looking like. And is it this dip that happens in here that creates that ultimate fear that does get XRP to be able to go hit these lows? Now, one thing I've seen on Twitter a lot, here in the last 24 hours, as if the price level has some type of meaning. I don't see any meaning in it, so I don't know why it's being shown as so important. The 250 super mega support has continued to hold. I don't see any reason why $2.50 is any meaningful number. Just so we're all clear with that, from my views, I don't see any reason why 250 means a thing. I could easily see us going below 250 and it really not mattering in there. The areas I'll be looking for supportive levels. And if we continue back down to the bottom of this range, it's been the things that we've just kind of talked about in here on how that can end up playing out. That this is really an area that we're going to hit a couple of times in here. So really it's more of like, hey, we'll see how we do down here at like 225, 220. Make sure that level can maintain its support levels. And that's where I'm really looking for things to be more supportive. I just don't see 250 as really being a meaningful number in any way. One thing I did find that was interesting over here is on the far left, I actually have the XRP dominance. And here, I'll do this, and then we'll come back to this. Does that work? That does work. Notice that the XRP dominance actually did hold. It was actually a perfect slam that happened here for XRP dominance. So I thought that was kind of fascinating to see that in there with how wild and erratic everything else has been throughout the rest of the market, or at least on the XRP price chart, whether we're looking at XRP versus Bitcoin or US dollar and stuff like that, that you actually do have a pretty precise nail that happened over here on the actual dominance in here of what we're really looking for. You can see these things are really just the same thing, right? That's how the break happens in here. That's how the break happens in here and slam. So I still think this will just continue on. And, essentially we're trying to get through here. And I'm not sure if we've just kind of made somewhat of a little bit of a dip here. There's going to be another move back up in here. That then eventually has to come back down and come back down in here. I'm not really 100% on that at this time. To give you like an idea, though, one of the things we've talked about, though, is just kind of like timing on how long you spend in these things, right? Typically, the ranges are about the same amount of distance. Pretty deep into it. So maybe not, right? Maybe it's not that long. Maybe it comes a little bit faster. We'll see. Calm down. One of the things as well, looking over here at the actual USD price chart for XRP is that, again, with that 250 level, I don't see anything significant about 250. I mean, we already hit 247. I totally see it capable of going below that as well. It's going to be more of like these levels way down in here, watching these ones, seeing how they react. If this is some type of crashing structure that has happened in here, whether or not this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have like wave 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, right? Is this wave 3? Is there still going to be a 4? And then is it going to be sloppy? You know what I mean? I think it's still possible that it is. So I don't think there's a whole lot to draw in here. You got some of the indicators to start to like turn their way up, and you could see how this thing has been really the whole way down in here. All right, the bearish divergences start to emerge over here. So we've already had this is our second bearish divergence showing up in right here on that peak right in there. And then it just starts slipping. And then now it's kind of drifting its way back up. You can see it stops at 60. So, I don't think it's time to get super excited just yet. But like one thing I do see over here, of course, is just there's going to be a tremendous amount of shorts with their stop losses all throughout here. There's just a nice short liquidation setup that has happened in here with consecutive lower highs to as we've seen that before, right? We talk about that a lot when these things can start drifting their way up, that all the stops gets in here, and then we see it happen. Price will go like that and just blast all the way through it. And we talk about that and say, hey, look, that's not sellers suddenly panic selling when those types of environments happen. That's automatic selling. That's algorithms triggering. That's things that happen for things to sell off in that manner, just like what we saw over here. This is not people panicking. There are people panicking in here, but the main event that is happening in here is a liquidation. It is automatic selling that is taking place on exchanges. And so I see that setting itself up over there on the XRP price chart by all of these consecutive levels that are being set in here. I'm not sure if we're ready to go take them just yet. I think we will eventually. I think it'll probably be violent when it does take them out. But you could just see that setup already starting to emerge in here. But I think the main point of what I wanted to say when it came to that topic in particular is I don't think $2.50 has any type of significant meaning to it. I totally think we could go below it. The bigger area I'm watching for is really just this area that we just recently came off of. That's the thing that I'm mostly paying attention to. right in there, just to see that we can find some type of support. We'll see if it kind of wicks below it. One that just did something similar to that was kind of like Aptos. You can see Aptos came in here, did a liquidity grab, and then shot its way right back out of there. I think that's possible for that to happen too. But that's just kind of, I'm going to stick with it, that this has been the thought process. From a timing perspective, though, on something like this, let's go back here. Again, timing, very difficult to predict. Just super wrong about it all the time. But when we go through multiple ranges, these tend to be about how long these ranges are. It's kind of what the previous one was in there. In that, we're drifting along in here. Thoughts are still late February. Hopefully we're trying to stab our way out of the actual range in here. Kind of give you like this example too, right? This is very similar to what we actually just saw over here with XRP. Was that type of range happen in there for then that kind of a breakout? I get it. XRP goes a little bit lower in that event. Let's do this. Right? How much time elapses in here before it ends up breaking out? Again, I've shown other examples of this as well, like just kind of ballpark. That's why my expectations are not, I'm not making videos right now of being like breakout about to happen. It's going to happen. Yeah, we're talking about parabolas, how the parabolas can build parabolic structures setting up and stuff like that. But in the videos, I keep kind of reiterating a week or two maybe. And so that's kind of just where I'm at right now. I'm not trying to jump the gun just yet because I don't think 250 means anything. I do think we could go back and revisit these levels once again. It's been kind of the idea that I've rolled with since we saw the liquidation event happen in here. That we'd push up here and then we'd come back down to these lows again. And then after that, we'll start acting ridiculous. We'll start making people angry, right? Well, the sentiment will be so bad. We'll make all the videos and all the bull posts and all the everything and just infuriate people. And like, no, blockchain Packer, it's irresponsible. It's not going to happen. Yeah, so but we're waiting for that. We will get there. Don't worry, we will get there. Just going to have to be patient here for a couple of days to see if we can get that to at least show up in there, or for something to deviate and paint a different picture. But as of right now, still think it probably, if we're lucky, late next week. That's the way I'm viewing it. Right now. But otherwise, still just humming along. Things have held up. Things haven't misbehaved at all over here on the XRP price chart. And frankly, they haven't really misbehaved here really in the crypto market at all. I mean, you got Solana. I don't know what to think about Solana, man. Like, the narrative on Solana is meme coins. I mean, right? I don't know if it has really any other type of narrative to go with it in this market outside of meme coins. And the trenches, like, I don't know. Did we talk about that? Like, because I pay attention to that stuff, man. Like, I follow those DeGods guys. I follow that LA vape cabal. I follow Portnoy. I watch all this stuff because I got to be in the loop on all of it. I'm terrible on Solana meme coins. I'm trash at it. But I follow it all. And it is bad. It is bad over there, man. And I've had so many thoughts on it. Will it come back to the level that it's ever been at? I think the how much insider stuff has happened. And I haven't even shared, like on Twitter, I haven't even shared there was some video that came out that was like 25 minutes ago with the Meteora CEO and like the complexities of Jupiter and all these all these people, the insider trading that happens, that it's, the people are always talking about the snipers, right? Like people are sniping it, right? And like nobody knows who these snipers are, but these people are pro snipers. And it's all coming from the inside, man. Like the game is so rigged. It's so rigged. It's crazy. And I think people have realized it. The the thing is, greed always comes back. And that's one thing we always know is greed will always return. Irrational exuberance, extreme risk taking always returns. And right now, and the meme came in Solana, it is crushed to oblivion. But will it end up coming back? I don't know. I don't know if people will trust it. Like, if you're surprised influencers get allocations, or if you're surprised that influencers take early positions on these meme coins or these low cap crap coins and then start shilling them to you, if you're surprised by that, I mean, I guess that's a wake up call for you. If you've known it, but you kind of thought, man, you know what goes on. Like, you know what goes on. That shouldn't be too surprising to you. But I think a lot of times you have certain people that you look up to and you think they wouldn't be the ones to do it. So I think people got real surprised by some of the name drops that came out of that, or the extent of it and how it operates. And of course with Dave Portnoy being one of them who has offered to get paid to shill the Argentina coin. 5 million at launch, topping out at 25, 28 million or something like that. He gets rug pulled and then he gets refunded. Like, the game's rigged, right? The game is so freaking rigged. I don't know if Solana can come back. Solana is weak. I mean, it is weak. I was looking at this thing, XRP people. How much we talked about this. I want you to reflect back on the pain that you felt in late 2023 and into 2024 as XRP stayed stuck at 50 cents and Solana was ripping. I want you to reflect back on that and how frustrating that was watching that happen. And really every crypto coin felt like that, because it was Solana's independent kind of run. The rest of the cryptocurrency market, as we all know, stopped out of that 702 retracement, most of them not even coming close to hitting them. But here's the state of Solana versus XRP right now. Oh, wrong one. When we change the denominator from dollars to XRP, that's the state of Solana. So reflect back on how you felt when everybody's hooting and hollering about Solana, and XRP is 50 cents the whole time. That is Solana in a full-blown, complete crash rug pull style of crash happening versus XRP right now. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. We've talked about that. That's total 2. That's the altcoin market versus XRP. Remember all that stuff, man. It's pretty crazy. So I don't know. I don't know if Solana's going to be all right out of all this. Longevity-wise, it's taken a beating. The main people promoting the casino have essentially come out and said they're not going to be promoting the casino anymore. The influencers and stuff. They've gone into hiding, which is weird. Like, I know it because I'm in the limelight all the time. I've gotten things wrong for sure. And when things go against you, you feel like absolute trash. But, the thing that I've never done is go into hiding. I would still come out here and, face the music and, but the thing is, these guys have all gone into hiding, and that's kind of weird. So I don't know. If Solana is going to be all right. We'll see. All right. There you go. So XRP, I think you're just chugging along in there. I don't think $2.50 means anything. Just letting everybody know, because I see that number floating around out there a lot over there on Twitter. I don't think it means a thing. One of the challenges, of course, with the market, things that we always talk about, the Russell 2000 has been the difficult part. Like we've said for a year and a half, it's like we're navigating these uncharted waters in the crypto market. People wonder why things are so weird. I wrote about this in the newsletter of being like, we look at things that have crashed and crumbled and look like trash. We've looked at things that are mid-pack, and we look at things that are at the top. Your things at the top are your things like Binance Coin, Tron, XRP. But then you say to yourself, all right, what about the things that are like way ahead? Like, what about the things in new all-time highs? And the reality is, from the top 50, none of them have gone. None of them have gone. You have nothing that has survived the bear and then gone on from the top 50 to break out into new all-time highs. Nothing. And why is that? And it's because that I know in Markets in the Morning, you guys are unbelievably sick of talking about it. I've tried to refrain from talking about it tremendously for the last couple of months as we've been beaten up by it. But it's due to breadth, right? The breadth of the market is different from what we've seen. And now what's fascinating is yesterday, we've got a red day today over here in the stock market as we get it kicked off. Yesterday, the S&P 500 closes at another record high. The NASDAQ closes at another record high. Even the NDXT, the NASDAQ 100 technology sector, closes at a new all-time high for 3 days in a row. Yet the Russell won't go, right? The breadth will not open wide open. And so you look at all these are all the times that, this is where the narrative of 4-year cycles comes into crypto. It's painted with a fantasy of Bitcoin block reward halvings, but it's really all of these liquidity events happening in broader markets and breadth opening up. I didn't comment on it. I wanted to comment on it yesterday on Twitter, but I didn't do it. But Peter Schiff, huge gold guy, right? But one comment he was making that was absolutely infuriating him is why gold mining stocks aren't taking off right now, even though gold is just crushing it, right? It's almost at $3,000. Why are gold mining stocks not taking off when the profitability is there? And I wanted to tell him, I go, Peter, I think that it is just because there's no breadth in this market. Nothing will go, right? You have your big names, but you can't get the breadth to open wide open in the entire market right now. And that is why those mining stocks won't take off. There's not some huge risk tolerance that's willing to happen in there. And that's the thing that happened at every 4 years, that we get to the election cycle, the election happens, and then the breadth opens wide open, and then into the bull run, we end up going. Well, there's your election. And what I went ahead for fun this morning and did is I just went ahead and tacked those on there of what those looked like and how this time has been different. I still think it's going to get it, but it's different, right? It's totally different than what we've seen with 4-year cycles happening. And I showed this in the newsletter as well. You want to think that you want to think crypto has anything to do with gold, or do you want to realize the reality that get to my point? Come on, load TradingView. Or the reality. There's your crypto market. There's your Russell 2000. It's the same thing. It's the same damn thing. So, oh boy, that's the challenges, right? That's the challenges we face in here, and trying to find when is it going to happen? How are things going to get going? And this is why all those models of doing it exactly the same way of every 4 years have been so difficult and so challenging. We've painted this narrative this time's different. Different doesn't necessarily have to mean a bad thing. Clearly, for XRP holders, it hasn't been a bad thing, but it certainly is different, and having to navigate through those waters in there. So, waiting on that, right? And that'll be fun again if we get it, right? Like, that was the thing that caught most of the market by surprise, that we were actually lifting off back in November. When we got that Russell breakout to end up coming in there, it was very easy here on the YouTube channel to immediately come out and start bull posting and being like, holy cow, here we go, it's happening, and crypto ripped with it. We all got to witness it together. We all got to accept that reality of the thing we had talked about for a year prior happened right when that happened. And so if once that shows up, I do think that's our major thing that we're looking for. And hopefully that timing of all of that has alignment with other things that we're looking at in here at the exact same time. Of course, the big challenge here is gold, right? When is gold going to stop? I have a very difficult time with pinpointing what dollar value it's going to end up being in there. I mean, you got to be blind as a bat to not be able to see 5 waves emerging in here. There's 5 waves. We're in 5th wave. Now it comes into the scrutiny of diving deeper into these things of where is it going to end up pausing out at? Where is the 5th wave within here? Is that wave 1 and wave 2? Is that wave 3 and wave 4 in there? Are we now in wave 5 of wave 5 happening in here? A parabola shooting straight up. I think one of the fascinating things happening right there from a narrative perspective right now, which of course leads to speculation happening in this type of moment, is the gold in Fort Knox? Is it in Fort Knox? You know, like, of course, like we enter into mega parabola and it's like, hey, where's the gold? Where's the gold? Wave 5 of wave 5 of wave 5. Where's the gold? You know, are we being duped? What happens if the gold is there? Right? Does it even matter? What happens if the gold's not there? I don't know. But I do find it funny that there's a big narrative of gold and Fort Knox finally at this particular moment. But still waiting on this thing to likely chill. I'm not going to go into the whole nuances of gold and crypto right now. Why not? Why not? If I'm going to prove the point, then I better at least talk about it, right? Gold breaks out into its all-time high. Crypto. Gold turns around and breaks down. Crypto. Right? Gold breaks out. Crypto. Opposite way. Right? Like we just, you know, so where is this thing going to stop? I think it's going to stop. I suspect it's a very long bull run for gold. But I do think eventually we see these levels again in something similar to like a C19 style event for gold, you know, violent back test, similar to what we just saw over here in the market. Problem with that on gold, could that take could it take years for that, or could it happen very quickly? But I think the main thing we're just looking for gold to do is just say, okay, I'm paused, I'm stopped, we're done for now. And I think that's just what we're waiting on. As for silver, people ask about silver a lot. I'm a big silver fan as well. My thoughts with silver, I think silver is going to go into a mega bull run as well, that it's working on something like that to head into a major bull run too. The thing about silver is I'm not completely certain that it's actually ready to actually end up doing it, and that the range could continue on further to head back down lower and still continue this range first. And frankly, that would probably be the best thing that we could look for the cryptocurrency market, is that we do see those metals chill out in there. I think that's possible. That's an ABC correction that comes out in there, and that's what we're looking for next. That would be ideal. I have been accumulating silver in these levels, but cautiously. I'd probably back the truck up if we did end up getting something like $27 for me personally. So, all right, there you go. Stock market. You got a red day over here in the stock market after record high closes yesterday. You got the Nasdaq down 100 points. You got the Dow Jones down 137. You got the S&P down 17. Gold up $1, silver down $0.25, DXY 107. So this will be interesting on the DXY. As we know, the DXY has gotten back to 702 retracement on the struggle bus here for the DXY. We know we are getting much closer back down to that 106 level. 106 historically has been bear market. We're doomed. It's game over. Or, hey, we're back into a bull now that we're back down below it. And anytime we venture near it, it gets dangerous. And, well, look back over here in December, we get through it, it breaks out, and then we've had crypto just struggle ever since then. So the big moment is, how do we react here when we get back to 106? Is this going to be a game similar to Trump's previous presidency, where this event of everything in here in this range, and escaping from this range is similar to this range escaping. This is where Trump's presidency begins right here. This is where Trump's presidency begins right here. Do we then end up getting the dollar to work its way back down? I think the main thing we're watching for, at least for me from a technical perspective, to start getting really optimistic. There's a lot of things, right? We're waiting for the Russell 2000 to get broken out, but like a confirmation thing, of course, that we're looking at for at the exact same time is if that Russell can get back down below 106. We've seen the confluences time and time again of 106 being a critical level of bear or bull. We're heading back down towards 106. I think the thing that we're looking for is if we can plow through it. And right now we're at 107. We've dipped into the 106s here in the last couple of days, but now it's going to be about when we get back down here, can we just plow right on through? If we plow right on through it, I would be on alert to see that the Russell 2000 would respond to that the Russell 2000 would work its way up in an event of that happening, and that we would see breadth open throughout markets. So, all right. Oh no, did I lose all that? Okay, here we go. Other things we're looking for, of course, like this is something I brought up earlier, is just corrections in here, right? And if this is a large A, B, C correction in here that has happened here for the crypto market while it's back at the previous all-time high, as we know, very deviated market on who's back at highs, who's back at lows, and who's back in the middle pack. But for total 3 for the altcoin market being back at the all-time high, was this just a big, large A, B, C correction? My thoughts still are that it was. We're just waiting for that moment to show up in the market where it's something like this, where we do get a push back up into these levels happening in here. I can look through here. I can find all the little critical moments that I would be looking for to happen for it to end up being this type of correction in here. That these events were this, that there's the push, the second one, the fall, the push, the fall. Then we end up getting the ABC correction to show up in here, ABC, and we get our ABC, and we get our retracements, and then we end up getting this right before we capitulate, and we capitulate. And that right now, where we reside, is right where we should, but we're waiting for something to happen. To get us back up into these levels. And that could happen very quickly. But the thing that I will, if that shows up on the channel, I will then be kind of like, all right, probably going to get boring again here for a minute, and just kind of prepare for that too. It's likely that it would be ABC correct after that as well. But right now we're looking for confirmation that it was an ABC correction. Of course, none of us want to see this thing just break down from here and just be kerplunk. It'd probably be lights out for this market. Essentially, you'd be playing a retracement game after that, that if this thing ends up crashing and crumbling down in here and just goes down in here, essentially the name of the game at that point is to try to catch a retracement back in here and then X your way out of here. That's obviously what none of us would want to see, unless you're just some nefarious angry person, which there are plenty of those people out there. But if we can get our move back up in here, that is ideal. And I genuinely think that is what we're going to end up seeing in here. I do not think we're going to see that happen over there for total 3 for the altcoin market, or any of these ideas if we're talking about XRP going like, well, I won't go there. I don't think 250 is a floor. I don't think 250 has any meaning whatsoever. I've seen a lot of it over there on Twitter. I think the numbers are closer to 220 to 230. And we're waiting for an ABC breakup to happen over here for total 3. All right, moving over to news. There's going to be a little bit of a change happening over here on news and how this is going to go. Today will be the last day we actually end up using CoinDesk. I complained about CoinDesk all the time. Their website's complete trash. We don't gain anything by looking at it. Now they are doing lots of cookies on here that they want me to consent myself to. We and our 914 partners process your personal data and your IP number using technology such as cookies. I've gone through this stuff in here. There's no way for me to avoid it. I have to accept over 100 cookies onto my computer in order to get rid of this gigantic bar that is taking up all of this screen. So we will not go through CoinDesk, and we will no longer be using CoinDesk anymore. So all right, there you go. CNBC. Hey, which means I just get to cut down the news portion of this thing by a third, because we all know it's my favorite part. I love the news. I love it, man. All right, embattled EV maker Nikola files her Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Nikola, a once popular auto startup of investors, filed for bankruptcy protection after failing to secure a buyer or raise additional funds. I don't know what the price is at right now. In pre-market, it was down 60%. Trump suggests 25% tariffs on autos, pharma, and semiconductors that could go even higher. Zelensky hits back at Trump's comments, says Ukraine is not for sale. Cool. All right, Bitcoin's price movement looks very manufactured. Samson Mao. Bitcoin bull market can survive 77K Bitcoin price dip in 2025. I think technically it can. The Malay Libragate debacle took months to develop and days to unfold. Energy-backed currencies as the key to climbing Kardashev scale. Web3 gaming activity surges 386% when bull run. Bitcoin leads first major weekly crypto ETP outflows. Okay, it's not here on this website, but I will say this. Donald Trump over there on Truth Social shared 2 Ripple and XRP news articles on his Truth Social yesterday. Now, I got it. Everybody likes to sensationalize everything. Oh my gosh, it means Trump loves it. Now, of course, he was sharing a lot of different stuff, and you don't know whether it's an intern or it's something like that who shares those types of things. So I'll just say it from a realistic approach, right? Well, we don't know if it was him. Could have been. It could have been. He was sharing a lot of stuff. It's Trump's typical stuff, bragging, right? Hey, look at me. Things are going really well because of me, right? He was repeating things that Brad Garlinghouse had said, the Trump trade. It was in the mix of a lot of other things that were shared. But, and I don't know if it's as glorified as of course, all the people are going to spin this with YouTube videos and tweets and stuff like that today. I don't think it is as glorified as that. But I think it does at least resemble something, acknowledgement of Ripple, acknowledgement of XRP, and not being scared to share that. And I'm sure people want to sensationalize it way more than that. I'm not sure that it is more sensationalized than that, but it's positive. I don't see, even if it's just like an intern who was sharing a bunch of articles, that's still positive, right? It's still positive. It got shared on his Truth Social, 2 articles pertaining to Ripple into XRP. So whether you want to think it was Trump reading the news and being like, yes, Brad Garlinghouse, good job. I'm going to share this over here on Truth because, Brad, you're the man in XRP. It's part of the global reserve currency. Or if it was an intern who was like, hey, can I post this? And he just did. Either way, it made it onto his Truth Social. Well, that's kind of cool. So if you want to go check out Donald Trump's Truth Social from yesterday, you will find stuff on there from Ripple and, about Ripple and XRP on his actual Truth Social. Bitcoin maxis are just died a little bit on the inside there. All right, Bitcoin leads first major weekly crypto ETP outflows of 2025 at $430 million. Polymarket bets on Fort Knox audit as reserve debate heats up. Bitcoin death crosses pile up to spark 92K Bitcoin price support retest. I don't trust any death crosses, but okay. I also don't trust bull crosses. Pantera founder faces like... I hope you guys have learned about that by now. But people will be in this market for 8 years. And it's like, hey, what happens when those happen? All right, Pantera founder faces tax probe. Yeah, look at me being my classic Twitter classic news guy. Pantera founder faces tax probe. Argentine lawyer hits Malay with fraud charges. Law decoded. 2 billion Solana unlock incoming. Is it time to hold short or sell Solana? Yeah, so you got the plethora of stuff going on over there with Solana. Of course, you know, you got the meme coin death spiral that's happening in there. The trust is lost on that. The casino is not rigged. It's rigged from the inside. And then you have Dave Portnoy over there just rug pulling people, just spitting on their graves. And at the same time, on March 1st, you're going to have a very, very large Solana unlock at the same time. Those things, you know, those things are hard when it comes to the unlocks because how much of it gets priced in ahead of time, right? You know, the price pretty much kind of gets pushed to a level and then kind of holds there where, you know, the large entities are like, all right, we're at a price we're willing to accept all of this unlock supply at, right? So the market will kind of push itself there before the unlock ends up happening. But I think that, of course, is part of the current pressure that Solana is facing right now. There you go. That's news. And that is one of my biggest records for doing a 50-minute ramble before I even get into the chat and into the super chats. So that is that. That's your markets in the morning. I'll tell you, it's always weird when we come on these things. I'm kind of like, sometimes I'm just like, man, what am I going to talk about for that long? And here we are. I just strung together maybe 50,000 words over 50 minutes. And we made it. So hopefully there was some value in there. If there was, please hit the like button. It's the #1 way to support the channel. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the super chats in here real quick, guys, and then we'll get on our way. Yesterday, I had jury duty yesterday. I don't even remember when I last had jury duty. I think it was, my best guess is 7 to 10 years ago. I've somehow been really lucky to not get it. I didn't know how to address the whole jury duty thing when it came to like telling the channel about it. Because I was like, well, what happens if I get picked? And then if I do get picked, like there's like the rules where you can't talk about it if you're on a jury. And then can you even tell people if you're on a jury? And then am I going to like vanish and disappear for 3 days and nobody knows where I'm at? Anyway, typical jury duty experience. You go hang out there, sit around for hours. We don't need you. Goodbye. That's what it ended up being. So yeah. All right. There you go. I had to do it. Now I'm a true American. Civic duty complete. All right, Jam, the President of the United States is posting about XRP. What a time to be alive. Jam, member for 14 months. Thank you. Saints HD. Hey, man, could you take a bars pattern from December 3rd, 2018 to May 10th, 2021? Overlay it on October 9th. Align the stars with the bar patterns for October 9th on crypto total cap. Buddy, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that, Saints. And Saints might be a chick. I apologize. I said buddy. I guess it could be buddy. Lady. My wife loves that. Listen, lady. All right. Could you said, hey, man. I don't know. You could be a dude. A dude using a chick avatar. All right. Hey, man, could you take a bars pattern from December 3rd, 2018 on others? I don't think I can with how much time I have, guys, to pull all that stuff out. If you figured it out, you figured it out. I'm sorry. I spent way too much time rambling. I know there's going to be lots of altcoin requests and stuff in here. You guys save your money. Don't ask for the altcoin requests. I will look at that off stream, Saints HD. If I find value in that, I'll try to address it in a video or next week, and I'll do a better job not rambling for so long. Create a VFT. Hey, BCB. Heard of 18-year-old real estate cycle? I have not. A bust expected by January 25th to 27, which lines up with your stock nuke theory. Getting a home in Australia, but this freaks me out. Is a bad time? Cheers. I'm always uncomfortable answering the question if is it a good time or a bad time to buy a home. Here's one thing. A lot of people waited for the housing market to collapse in 2018, in 2019, in 2020. And when it did, the governments came in and saved it. And it didn't really collapse, right? It otherwise would have. People not paying their mortgage, jobs, unemployment, all that kind of stuff. And then they saved it. So, I think the hard part is interest rates are so high right now. Prices are so high right now. My thoughts on it would be that, yeah, prices are probably going to come down. I would think prices are going to come down. And then interest rates will come down. But how far down will they go? I don't know, right? Are we in a new paradigm now when it comes to interest rates that we won't see that 0% stuff happen again? That during the next economic downturn, that the Fed's going to have to find a happy medium, that they're going to say, look, we didn't do enough during the great financial crisis, but we did way too much during C19, right? I think that's where they're at on the next downturn, right? And that they're going to try to pick somewhere in the middle of that, and that it's not going to be enough. They're going to miscalculate. That's what I think is going to happen. But I don't know if that zero interest rate stuff's going to come back. Very, very hard. I would imagine housing coming down due to demand being down so much. Just hasn't happened yet. And typically that ends up happening whenever there's a lot of unemployment. And right now there's no signs of unemployment spikes. But that's typically the thing that leads to the downturn in the housing market, is that there has to be people becoming unemployed. And we don't have that yet. But, what's the series of events of how that happens, right? Something happens to the stock market, then people get unemployed, and then housing goes with it, right? So if you see the stock market crash and you're thinking, oh, I better quickly buy a house, that's probably a time where I would be sitting there saying, wait. A lot of people are about to lose their job, and then housing is going to come down as supply is about to hit the market drastically. You know what I mean? But we don't have those elements right now. TTC, gold, thank you, CreativeBit. TTC, gold rampaging, central banks buying, yield curve inversion, SPX overextended. Yield curve inversion is a difficult one with everything that's happened. SPX overextended, similar to the 1930s. Yep. Foreign ownership of U.S. bonds, net decrease. Could the strange behavior be indicating recession? I think it's a great thing, because I've been sitting here, sitting in my own head of just like reaffirming it, of like, tell me a time, man, where this doesn't lead to a recession. Tell me a time where gold goes on a rampage like this and it doesn't lead to recession eventually. It always does. It always does. It's not going to give us timing. It's not going to tell if it's 2 months from now, if it's a month from now, if it's 2 years from right now. But this is a typical leading indicator of one coming when gold does this, right? Which still, we can get a blow off top. We're seeing that in SPX. We're seeing that in NDQ, right? You get these blow offs. You get everything happening in there. We'll hopefully see it over there in the RTY, rotational market, big caps into mid caps, small caps. But ultimately that it ends up leading to a recession. So my thoughts are, yes, that is a precursor in there. One of the questions I get asked a lot about in the event that I get to get a big cash position, right? Like if XRP gets above $8, I'll be taking big chunks out, big chunks out of the market. And the thing that people always want to know is, where are you going to put it next? What's the next play? Right? And I don't know. The best thing I can come up with at my mind, and like, okay, so there's these things of life experiences that I've had when big drastic events change in life. One of the things is like when you get sober. During your first year of sobriety, you're not supposed to do any type of major life changes, make any really big financial purchases, start any type of really new big relationships, or try and sometimes you have to move because your conditions and stuff, but the idea is to not make any really big changes that could have permanent consequences within that first year because life is so different suddenly. And I think about that too when large sums of money. I have no problem locking it up into treasuries and just locking it for 6 months and saying, you know what, that'll get 3.5%, 4%. Sit back. Does the next play have to be played immediately right now? Or can I wait? And I think that, in my opinion, that's the next play. The next play is that, or being really good at identifying how to, catch a short. I don't know how I just went on that tangent, but anyway, I do think of that with the recession, and if there's, do you bet the house on trying to short the market, or you do bet the house on going into gold or silver? The challenge about gold or silver in the event of a liquidation event happening throughout broader markets is, like we're talking about this, if this thing's going to violently backtest these levels like they typically do, right? That's clearly your double tap, bull flag, 5-wave breakout. These typically end with a violent backtest. Would this be happening during a liquidation event during the stock market, right? Does this thing pause out? This is how we get kind of the last rally, the last hurrah in the equity market and in the cryptocurrency market, and then that's our liquidation event. Does that necessarily mean if you're going to escape all markets and go to cash, that going into gold is the right play? Not necessarily, right? Go back and look at, when C19 happened, right? Go back and look what happened when the great financial crisis happened. It's not necessarily the play in the thick of the crisis, in the thick of the moment, right? And so my thoughts are, I am going to just go cash, man. Go boring old U.S. treasuries. High yield savings, money markets, right? So anyway, moving on. Thank you, TTC. Texas Takeover, member for 22 months, brother. Thank you so much. Crypto Echo, welcome everyone. Thank you, BCB. Member for 14 months. Thank you. Mount Guyful, narrative equals USA made. XRP LB poster child when moon. I mean, that seems to be the case. We've gone through that a lot through the newsletters. We've gone through that here on the YouTube channel. The things that I wrote about it 2 newsletters ago, I did a comparison of what has been the percentage returns for the last 6 months or 5 months of USA versus Ethereum related. Of 10 different things, 10 things that were USA and 10 things that were Ethereum and L2s and stuff like that. Do you know what those numbers were? No, you don't, unless you subscribe to the newsletter. The average return on, even after pulling back, the average return on USA stuff was over 200% still has been the return. And Ethereum and L2s was 20%. 10 times better performance by USA stuff. Maybe agony occurrence? I don't know. Crypto in 2025 is the snooze fest. It has been a snooze fest so far, right? Thank you. Leffen S. Happy hump day, BCB. What's your thought on Jack Dorsey being Satoshi Nakamoto? It's interesting. It would, I could see it. Hey, have I done enough research to say it's valid or not? Have I read some of the arguments? I've read some of the arguments. They seem good. I don't have any way to prove or disprove what they're saying is correct or incorrect, but people seem like it. The CEO, no, I don't know, not CEO, the head of digital assets of VanEck, right? Who has a Bitcoin ETF. They've got, they might even have an Ethereum ETF. I don't know. The head of digital assets at VanEck said that he's done the research. He agrees. He believes it's Jack Dorsey. I don't know. Be interesting. And then, of course, remember Jack Dorsey posted that thing over there on Instagram with Michael Saylor converting into XRP just like a month ago, right? What? Dude, could you imagine Bitcoin maxis? If he did something, oh my gosh. All right, Joker's performance. Did you see the post on Elon auditing Fort Knox? Can you say gold and Elon? Gold at the 4.236, Elon at SNL. Yeah, it's really weird, right? It's really weird with the Fort Knox stuff. I mean, here we are just a week ago posting. We're at the 4.236. We're just above right now, but we're posting. Here we are at the 4.236. It's taken 45 years to get here. And then we hit mainstream. Hey, we're going to audit Fort Knox. Elon's on talking about gold. It's big news, right? It's weird. RJ says, do you think $160 could be the local bottom with the FUD storm coming out of Solana? I don't spend enough time in the Solana chart to say any level of confidence. Solana's weaker than everything. I believe Solana's even set a new low. Right, here's the major liquidation on February 3rd. There's Solana. I don't think anything else has done that. I don't think anything has. Now, I'm on Twitter all the time, right? So charts get fed to me via Twitter. I've seen lots of people post to this level, like way before it got through here. And they were like, it gets down in there. It's the ultimate buy. I don't know, man. It's been weaker than anything. Does it have a FUD campaign of extremity? Yeah. Super major FUD. Is that a support level? Looks like a support level to me, but it's just weaker than everything else, right? So expressing very little confidence in Solana, and I don't spend enough time in here. It's done similar things to other stuff, right? It's Binance Coin, XRP, Tron, back at the all-time highs. It's like one of the only four, right? What's another thing? Similar to like the Litecoin stuff we've shown, right? The battle back at the all-time high. I don't think it's a bear market, right? I think it's just the standard jitter stuff. Another reason why it doesn't seem like a bear market at the same time, okay, is you have things like Polkadot that have hit their lows already. You have all these things that have slammed their like historical lows at this point. That's the starting points of rallies. That's not the starting point of bears. So whether or not Solana is going to be a major participant in it, it's hard for me because Solana's been so controversial since the beginning. Has the momentum entirely lost? On Solana, right? Maybe. But Solana is not something I've actively been partaking in. So even when I bought a 20 coin portfolio, I actually intentionally left Solana out of it and I didn't buy it. So it's really not something I pay too much attention to. And it's a chart I'm not comfortable tremendously with. The only thing I can say similar to it is this is pretty common. Struggle at the all-time high to ultimately find some support and then rally its way back up. But in observation, it's weaker. I don't think a single coin on this whole list has gone below what happened there on that liquidation on Monday, February 3rd. I don't think a single one has, except for Solana. It's got the unlock coming, whether that'll impact it, whether the market is still pricing that in. It's got the death of the meme coin casino, it seems like right now. And I think that's what most people buy Solana for, the meme coin casino. So it's hard narrative-wise, and it's definitely chart not behaving like the rest of the market right now with like a catalyst event on the horizon. You know, you have a support level right here though, right? So I mean, you have levels to be able to take shots at, right? Just whether that'll hold for that. Is there bigger underlying problems for Solana in general? It might be. Would you say 160? Yeah, 160, 155 is an area I'd find of interest. Amberlin, thank you. Corey, hey BCB, any thoughts on the moving averages and weekly MACD for XRP? Weekly MACD soon bearish cross. One thing with XRP when it comes to moving averages is they've never had really any meaning. We've actually brought this up in Markets in the Morning. I've brought this up in videos on how difficult trading that. So here's the daily moving averages. Let's see what weeklies look like. There's your weekly moving averages all throughout here. Right. So do we have meaning on them today? Now? Here's how we traded up them last time, right? I think XRP more of just the asset of if it goes up, it's shooting nearly in a straight line up, right? Not in particular on these in here. Weekly MACD. Not concerned yet. Because I don't think this is the condition of the market. I don't think the market's going to rip down. I built 1,000 cases on it from crash, retrace, reaccumulation, double tap, bull flag, breakout, backtest, V bottoms. I built all these things in here. I don't think it's happening. I'm looking at Bitcoin. I don't see a crash coming for Bitcoin. I mean, I'm very clearly not saying we won't. You couldn't see a dip. Like that just gets recovered really quick, but not looking at bear market, right? Marksy, Satoshi is at least 5 people, 1,000%. You don't know that. You've only read that in 100 news articles. You have no idea. You're just regurgitating what you've heard. You don't know that at all. Like, and that's the thing about like we tend to hear things so many times, we repeat them as fact. You have no idea, dude. Nobody does. Nobody who's willing to come 100% public with proof. EN, hey BCB, can you explain how it's possible Pole set a new all-time low at 25 cents, but Matic only visited the low 28? Aren't they supposed to be the same? I think somebody brought this up last time, and when we pulled up the chart, they were exact same. I'm not going to go into it again. When we looked at them last week, they were literally the exact same price. John, hey BCB, do you still see ETH setting new all-time highs? Painful to say it as it is, yes. Yeah, I do. I just struggle with the super cycle style stuff where it's like 70,000. Like I want to believe in it. I just don't know how you can mathematically make it happen. You know, you've got your high volume. This is like C19. I mean, this is like straight up. You just did C19 here throughout Ethereum. All of things structurally and everything like that. One thing too, I like talked about it privately when it was happening, but the weekend that the Trump coin got launched, and you know Ethereum was pumping into that, and I think I'm pretty sure I wrote about it too. I'm pretty sure I wrote about it in 2 newsletters ago. that would mark the top of Solana versus Ethereum. And the bottom of Ethereum USD versus Sol. That was your bottom. Right, that's a Trump launch, right? Saturday, right? Here we go. Saturday and Sunday. Solana's ripping because Trump coin's launching, right? Everybody's chasing Solana, right? So even that, like, so people asking me about Solana earlier, I'm like, well, man, I think the Sol ETH and the ETH Sol chart is probably reversing right now too. Look at that bullish divergence in there on the weekly time frame. It's real easy to make fun of a dorky looky Vitalik dude, which, trust me, I got it. But I just think it's, crypto being crypto, you got to find something to make fun of along the way. But I'm going to bet F does come back with a vengeance. I think the thing that's just going to be interesting is with XRP. So, right, again, it's in those same levels. Like, let's say, what would this do, right? Like, if XRP ends up, where are you right here? Because we've theorized about this before. So if XRP goes like 168% higher versus Ethereum, which, just so you guys know, right now, it has outperformed Ethereum by 441% in the last 3 months. But if it went 168% more, and then if the catch up happens with Ethereum right here, which is 29% higher, and we'd be looking for a total gain on XRP of 247%. You're watching how the brain works when no one's around before the videos get recorded. Like, how do you find those things? I'm just doing stupid stuff. So, like, a full 4.236 extensions, 232% right now for XRP on this range, which is at like $8 to $9 to $10 area, right? So it gets you right there in that zone. Does ETH go back into a retracement? XRP ETH goes into the 702 retracement. XRP goes for the 4.236 extension of this, and it gets to like $8, $9, and that's what always happens every time that. And so what would that mean, right? That would mean that the market cap of XRP would probably hit Ethereum at that exact moment. Dude. All right. Would it? Would it meet it? It's easier to do it this way. by the way. Waiting for this milestone. Dotted line is where I started my YouTube channel. That's XRP's performance versus Bitcoin's performance since the day my YouTube channel started. There's XRP, there's Bitcoin. We're waiting for the day to say XRP has been the better investment the entire time. We're almost there. So close. All right. Ethereum. I think I want to add symbol. No. Oh my gosh, come on, you could do this. Okay. Everybody log scale. Okay. If Ethereum went back to that retracement. Be 186%. 186 for a catch-up trade, right? So are we talking 232? Where do you gotta get to? Oh, the high. So that extension of market cap brings you to the exact same level of market cap struggle that Ethereum has been facing for the last year plus. That exact price level for that market cap for XRP is the exact same level that Ethereum has struggled at since the early part of 2024, about a year ago. Huh. That is interesting. I don't know. I have to think about that. You guys hear me okay? It says the audio stream's current bit rate is lower than the recommended bit rate. We good? It's good. Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, I got to move on. What are we at? An hour and 22 minutes. Oh, I'm going to fly through this stuff, guys. John, thank you. Clouds Bra. Hey, BCB. Dude, I got to get this guy. If this doesn't show up in my stuff, and it didn't show up in my stuff. I wonder how many times that has happened. Somebody has dropped those mega bombs, and I just didn't even address them. Stanford Ballard, thank you very much. She says, hey, BCB, thank you for all that you do. I've been meaning to drop you some thank you cash for all that you've done for me emotionally through the past years of investing. If you have time, what's your 50, 75, 100% sell points for XRP, HBAR, ADI, and XLM if you had? Bro, oh, dude, did you just, come on. Okay, I appreciate the super chat, but then you say, hey, spend 35 minutes covering all of these altcoins for me. Oh, man, I can't do them all. I can't do them all, bro. I appreciate the super chat. And I do, but I even for the $2 guy, I tell him, hey, man, I can't go through all the coins, and for the hundos, I'm grateful for it, but we got 3,000 people in here and going through all that stuff. I appreciate it, man. That's a lot of stuff to have to go through there. I'm sure over time we'll get those things, man. And as prices go up, I'm vocal about it. When I'm a seller, right? I'll take it on the chin. I'll have everybody, people will come into the chat. But don't you think this? Don't you think we're going to do this? Are you sure? No. It's my best guess. But I communicate that to you. That's when Savage says, is Cardano still good, bro? I think it's fine. And it's holding up much stronger than lots of other stuff. It's just not one of the leaders right now. But I think Cardano would do well. And it's made in America, bro. No, not in 5 minutes. Like, and like, here's the thing. Well, I'm very, very super grateful for the super chat. It's very kind of you, and I appreciate it. And I think you gave it out of the goodness of your heart. Of like, is what you said. Thank you for all you do. I've been meaning to drop you some thank you cash for all you've done for me emotionally through the past years of investing. I'm taking it as that, and then that's just kind of like a little bit of sugar on top. But I do tell people, like, don't super chat wanting me to cover altcoins, and it's. I also don't want to set the precedent of like I'm robbing people of their money if they tip $5 or $10 or something like that. But then if you tip 100, I'll do it, right? I don't want to set those expectations for anybody, and you know, simple as that. If you want to drop a hundo, by all means, guys, drop them all day, but not to cover. Well, I talk about XRP all the time. You know my sell points on XRP. I'm going to be unloading like a crazy man. 8, 9, $10. You know it. ADA. I'm a holder till like same thing. 8, 9, $10. Unloading. Blasting it. What about $999? I don't know. No one's ever done it. You could be the first one. And we'll find out what happens. And then H bar, I've covered that one too. Like 70 cents, I think, is the number I'll blast it out at. And then I guarantee that upsets a lot of people. Wait a minute. You don't think $2? All the other big TA guys say 2, 3, 5. Probably 70 cents. I'll blast it. John Jepson, BCB, in your opinion, do you think Trump can get no capital gains tax approved on U.S. made coins? I doubt it. Right? Like, I doubt it. At least not like for the 2025 tax year, right? Like, what does it matter if we're like, it's like 2027, we're deep in a bear. Everything's down like it always is, 85 to 98%. And he's like, this year you can sell your stuff for no capital gains tax. Also, no capital gains tax credit. So you could sell it. Major losses for no credit. Like, oh, great. Thanks. I don't know. All right, Oscar, bro. Thank you, dude. Yes, he says he's got to run. No, I'm not worried about it. All right, so look, I'll talk about XRP. I like how I'm strategically thinking about it heading into it, okay? Obviously, if things break down below here, I have to start rethinking things and trying to understand what I think is going on in here. If we go below lows, right? Lowest possible. I know I have the dominance chart on here, but they're essentially the same. Imagine, let's just do it this way. Make it easier for you guys. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think we're going back down there. I don't think $2.50 means anything, but I don't think we're going back down there. I think this is the interesting level. My thoughts are typically how these things go is that we do see a run happen in here. And I know I've just drawn this line, but I think it'd be like this, go, right? And then typically as we approach higher levels, there becomes a bigger correction that probably scares the living daylights out of everybody. And then things continue to move up. After we see big liquidation like that, then I'm going to start protecting myself with stops. And that we have reached kind of levels up in here that have started to be like, okay, I can't fumble this. I just cannot fumble it and allow this thing to slip away from me now that we've reached this point. In that it'll be, stops will start getting put in here. And once it becomes confirmation that seems like a very, very strong low, we'll stop below that. But my thoughts are it'll actually creep up for one more, and that there will be waves that are showing up in here, and they should be a series of higher highs and higher lows after this major one shows up in here. And then it just comes about stopping out these lows down in here. So I don't actually truly have the intention as of today of thinking I'm going to pinpoint precisely nail that one right there. I think I am actually just going to trail stop it on its way up. And then when that comes, I'll get hit. And that'll be it. That'll be the number that I got. Okay, I got to get back to the super chats. I got to get out of here. I'm at an hour and 30 minutes. Nobody's testing that $1,000 super chat theory. It's on. Happy hump day, BCB. What's your time, Jack Dorsey? Got that one. Thank you. G Dupe. Wow. Thank you very much. I'll get to you in a second. I appreciate it. Very, very generous. You dropped a hundo bomb. Thank you so much, man. Jokers, did you see the post on Elon or Fort Knox? Yeah, we got that one. We got the 160. Man, I must have fallen way back. Okay, Clouds Bra says, hi BCB. In past live, you mentioned that L2s would only retrace. Well, it's just speculating, right? They're all new coins. You look at it right now. What do you think is going to happen? If this market is going to be the same as 2021, where it's very select on who goes into all-time highs, right? Do you think it's a high probability that things that have slammed down into their lows are going to be the ones that go into the new all-time highs? I just have to play a game of statistical probability, right? It's highly improbable, right? Will there be some that do? Probably, right? We also don't know. One thing we do not know to this day, what happens with the L2s if Ethereum does go into expansion. We don't know, right? Will the L2s be treated like their own independent alt season within Ethereum if Ethereum is expanding? We don't know, right? Poll, you're just going to look at Matic. Well, I'm not going to do individual coins because there we go. Dude, you could do it. It would just be a retracement of the whole range. Clouds Bra. But it is really important that you're capable of doing something very simple like that. If you guys are not capable of figuring out retracement levels of this range, and you're playing in this game, you have to know how to at least be able to do that. I mean, like at a minimum. And I've talked about it. Like if I had to lose every single indicator possibly in the entire world, and I'm only allowed to have one, it's the fib tool. We get rid of everything. We get rid of every indicator at all. And I'm only allowed to have one. It's the only one I would use. If you can't figure out the retracement levels of this range, probably shouldn't even be playing in the arena. Well, come on, bro. You could do that. You could do that, bro. All right. Thank you, Clouds. Look, MACD is still in the negative on the daily, so we need to get up here. Applies on Bitcoin and all other coins, including others. Yeah, that's why I'm saying I don't think... Oh, man. Where's all the stuff I had? That's what happens when you get too deep into a stream. Okay. Yeah, I'm just not convinced that it's going to rampage from here. Well, it means I'm all long. I'm in the market, right? I don't have any shorts going. I'm not sidelined with any of my bag right now, right? I had levels I would take trades at. They didn't get hit. I'm fully in the market. If the market rips, I'm good. But I do think, I do still think there could be potential for more. Gino D'Amelio says, did you notice that in the Gary Cardone poll, U.S. dollars got more votes than Solana? Beyond that, he embarrassed himself. Yeah, then he deleted it, right? Thank you. G Dupe says, what do you think what do you think the relationship is between Stellar Lumens and XRP and why they move so in sync? Can you dive into XLM and see where you think that could end up this cycle? Thank you. I would treat XLM Now we got the second hundo being dropped asking about Stellar Lumens. I would personally treat Stellar Lumens the exact same way of treating XRP. They essentially did the same thing, right? They both did these major crash, retrace. Stellar Lumen was capable of hitting its all-time high in 2021, but incapable of getting out. Falls all the way back down, reaccumulation. Now Stellar Lumens is working its way back up, and it's adding strength, right? So for me, I'd be looking at the market cap of Stellar Lumens, which I can get here on, I don't know if you can get it here. You can get it here. On TradingView, all you do is type in XLM, and I would draw out the Fibonacci's of the entire 2018 through 2025 range. That'd be my highest extension possible. And laddering out up there in the event that we get an expansion in this market, that Stellar Lumens could follow it, and that'd be my max target for me on Stellar Lumens. Because it does follow XRP ridiculously. Your question just says, what do you think the relationship is? I think your question is really about why does Stellar Lumens do the exact same thing that XRP does? Nobody has really solved that. Could just be that it's actually market makers, right? Jen McCaleb is highly involved in Stellar Lumens. You know that a lot of the same investors are there between XRP and between Stellar Lumens. However, I don't think that it has anything to do with the investors. I think it has a lot to do with probably the same market makers. And the market makers are probably mirroring that. So like people always are curious, why does the crypto market move one way when other stuff like Bitcoin moves and all the altcoins move, right? Like that these market makers are all tied to each other, right? They're all tracking each other and doing the same stuff, right? And I think the market making that is happening on Stellar Lumens has highly attached itself to whatever XRP is doing. It's not organic buying. It's not FOMO. It's just the market makers. Which day did your breath indicator close? I'm not sure. Probably here. JD Estrada. So what is the narrative that will open breadth? Man, you never know, dude. Something that surprises you, right? Something that you couldn't see coming. That's typically how it goes. But everybody wants a narrative, right? Turner Keck, hey BCB, have you tried comparing the current Bitcoin structure to the second peak in 2021? It seems like a time-stretched version of that double top. If you could argue it. Time stretched version of that. Problem is, I just don't think it is. And because even in the video that I put out on Monday, which is highly disorganized, however, you can go read the newsletter, we talk all about this, right? That this is actually pretty normal, even for it to do that exactly like that. And that when you get in here, this is actually kind of what you do in here after you have the big clean breakout of the high. So while it looks similar, I think it's going to be the same thing people are looking for when it's the same group of people who are looking for head and shoulders to show up anywhere, right? You could argue that right here, right? Even I thought that at that time, right? Look at that. It was like, hey, no, it's not going to happen, right? Boom, opposite way. So it's, a lot of times you just kind of see these things visually with our eyes like they're going to be the same thing, but they're not. And like I showed earlier, this one's pretty similar too, right? But I don't think so. I think there will be a parabola in here. It would be really weird from here like that. Really weird. I mean, I got it. Weird stuff happens. I just don't think so. Distribution, longer distribution, or additional parabola. If it's additional parabola, then I would think there's the opportunity of a dip to happen in there. Crypto Patriot. Today, Elon Musk proposes $5,000 Doge dividend checks for all Americans funded by savings from his Doge. Could this be the parabola? No, I've already read on that. The Doge stuff runs all the way until 2026, right? And so the proposed idea is that, you know, people get 20% of the amount of money that is saved by Doge at the end of the Doge thing. So you're not even looking at even the potential of something like that happening until after like July of 2026. So no. Also, to be frank, why would we want that? People always want free money dropped in their lap. I mean, that's just obviously. But do we really want to go down this rabbit hole again of getting free checks dropped in our laps all over again? We all know it causes long-term problems for everybody. Fairs Idris, hey BC Backer, I've been following you since 2019 because you have held XRP since 2017. First of all, I wasn't even okay. Oh yeah, you said since. Okay. Can you please have a look? No, get out! You're joking me. Can you please have a look at One Harmony? What are your thoughts? I've recently put a whole mortgage on one 2 months ago. Get out of here, bro. Get out of here. Thank you for the super chat. Jonathan, that guy. Hey BCB, do you still think alts, not only XRP, will push higher into the retracements before revisiting supports? I don't even think that all of them are going to revisit supports. I just don't think so. I think this is very much like C19. This was extreme. I'll put it in here. Record levels of buying after the biggest event in crypto history. Like, we don't have anything to show of this magnitude happening before. And then for the buyers to arrive in there and do that in that type of event, right? Solana's got its own issue because it literally actually has selling happening. And so people are selling into the selling that they're expecting of selling to be coming. But not of the other stuff, right? And things like Aptos, right? Like trickery, getting down in here and then pushing its way up. I don't think we're going to see the lows come into play on a lot of these. Oh, I understand your question. I'm sorry. I think your question actually is, do I think it'll come up here first before coming down there? I think it's possible. Frankly, I thought it would happen here. But it's still possible. But if you're asking, do I think? I unfortunately don't have a strong conviction on it. So I don't want to say it will happen. But it could. And in that event, I might take a trade here. But I think it's possible, but I don't know how probable it really is because I thought it would have already happened. But I think, you got to look back and understand too. So you're asking about these, like what you just saw with Aptos has already done it now, right? So it's already done, right? It's already gotten back down to those lows and done it. And when you go through and you really look through a lot of them, of what happened after C19 occurred back in 2020, they're all sloppy ladders that get their way back up. And not all of them are exactly identical to each other. And they're all doing this slop stuff to then stair step their way back up. And I think they'll have little varying degrees on each of them, but overall the same kind of stair stepping thing happening on each of them. All right, guys, at an hour and 44 minutes, I'm going to go a lot faster right now because I'm so far behind. How far behind? I'm over an hour behind on Super Chats. All right, guys. We're going to go really fast. It's essentially just going to have to be thank yous at this point because I utterly failed everybody on how long I've taken in here. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of fly through the super chats and just say thank you. I apologize it took so long to get to them, guys. I can't believe I'm at an hour ago still. We're at an hour and 44 minutes into the show, and I'm reading super chats that were an hour ago. I'm so sorry. Gator gifted 5 BCB memberships. Brother, thank you very much. Cameron, member for 10 months. Thank you so much, man, for being a supporter, dude. Jake Arch, super chat. Do you think bull markets generally move with M2 money supply? No, they move with the Russell 2000. Tiffany Hess, longtime super chat, longtime lurker, and like button pusher, forever fan, and channel sharer. Thank you for offering your passion, skill, and thoughtful assessment. Jeez, Tiffany. Thank you. Very kind. I hope you're still around, even though you did that. Oh, I jumped way ahead really fast. Okay, even though you did that a half an hour ago, 33 minutes ago. Hopefully you're still here. Thank you. Bakamed TV, BCB, look again at the total chart against Bitcoin. Maybe the liquidation wick was not the real low. The pattern can also be recovered before the last sell-off. I'm going to have to look at it another time because I don't think so, guys. I've spent so much time in this stuff. I wrote an 83-page newsletter on what my thoughts are. That's what my thoughts are. Kyle says, thoughts on ADA. It's one whole market, guys. It's all moving together. ADA has been stronger than a lot of stuff. I think it's fine. Gibbs. Everybody knows the next play is toilets. Well, that's because I front ran all of you. Y'all are just copy trading. Oscar Hernandez, hit the like button. Always great listening while working. Oscar, thank you. And then he gifted a BCB membership. Corey, are you not worried about not being able to sell XRP tops earlier, like between 5 to 6? Not being able to sell if XRP? No, I think. Oh, I already answered your question. I showed you that just a minute ago. Trailing stops. Sean Everett, I do have a plan on trailing stops. There's at a point where I'm just not going to be able to stomach it at any point. Sean Everett, when do you sell XLM even though trash? A lot of this stuff, it's going to be confluence. I can guarantee you with a lot of these altcoins, there's going to be, this is how I imagine the future, right? Unless the rug just falls out beneath the whole market and I'm left holding the bag, which is always a possibility. But the way I imagine it happening is we get things, we're reaching confluence, I'm reaching certain areas, maybe XRP is getting near its target. I'm seeing something happen over there on Bitcoin where it's like at a retracement or something like that. Maybe the altcoin market or total is hitting an extension all at the same time. And there's just confluence factors happening between everything. And then I pretty much just go on a selling spree on a lot of these coins. And then I'll pretty much just say that's it. I pretty much kind of went through everything. And then there's going to be a bunch of people who are going to be like, what about this coin? What about that one? What about this? Oh my God, blah, 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 blah. And I think there's going to be some that, well, because just of what we've seen before, what we saw in 2021, the retracements likely aren't going to be identical. Like there's going to be some that are only 50% retracements. There's some that are 618 retracements, some that are 786 retracements. And we can in a future video or a future live stream, if we have time, we can go through a lot of them. And not this one at an hour and 48 minutes. But that there will probably be a confluence factor that shows up, and it's going to be like, look, this one's at a 618, this one's at a 702, this one's at a 786, and then you got total 3 hitting a 4.236 extension of the March of 2024 through August of 2024 range at the same time. You got XRP at $8.50, which is a 4.236 of the extension, like we showed over there with Litecoin, like we showed as XRP did back in 2018. You got all these things that are aligned happening at the same time. Some of them, there may just not be it. The liquidity may not be there on some of them where they just get cut, right? All at once. And probably lower liquidity stuff is where it ends up happening at. I think the things that I'm probably more worried about on those things occurring with is probably a lot of the L2s on Ethereum, unless it just surprises. The market just surprises and it's totally waiting on Ethereum to go into an expansion. And that Ethereum expands. What am I doing with Aptos on the screen here? XRP is at 63 cents. $2.63. I think I'm too used to saying that for the last 5 years of making YouTube channel videos. Look at XRP to the moon. Back in the day, we did used to celebrate a 1 cent price movement. So, I don't know. I lost my train of thought. All right. KG, give my friend Nancy some words of encouragement, BCB, while we wait for the big moves. All right, Nancy. And in crypto, we say we all gonna make it. Not everyone gonna make it, but Nancy, you are. All right. Spencer Gullivan, BCB, I see Wyckoff on VeChain from December. Are we in spring now? Just want to see if you agree. You don't have to show the chart. Thanks. I can't pull up VeChain right now. Like, I got nothing against VeChain. It's well known on this channel. VeChain got a lot of hate back in the day because it was constantly, dude. Constantly in the live streams. VeChain. Bring up VeChain. Bring up VeChain. A lot of XRP holders also hold VeChain. A lot of XRP holders also own Flare. A lot of XRP holders also own Hedera. There's like a lot of XRP holders also own XDC, right? Like, it's one of those coins of like, you own it because you're in the XRP communities. Like, it's the side satellites, right? They have XRP, then you got like the satellite assets they all own. The Stellar Lumen's one of them, right? That's why we're getting asked 3 times today about Stellar Lumen, right? It's a satellite asset of XRP. Play the frogs, man. Frog, man. Oh, man. We are 1 hour and 50 minutes in, and I've only done the frog 1 time. I do have to wrap this thing up, man. The Fairchild, man, thank you very much. Very generous. It says, hey, BCB, I remember you being very concerned about TradeFi taking a turn to the worst due to the Dow, amongst other things, reaching 4.236 extensions and rate cuts being the catalyst for a long 10-year bear. Do you still see that right around the corner? We talk about that all the time, man. Yeah, so the big thesis, clearly what you have happening in broader markets when it comes to the Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and the S&P, which we brought it up today, the S&P and the NASDAQ both closed at record highs yesterday, is that we still have the exact same conditions happening in here in this market, that we don't have breadth. It's an extremely consolidated market. This is all of your previous expansions. And so you have to say, why are we not acting the way we are in all typical expansions, right? This is what ends up happening. There's your 4-year cycles. There's your elections. There's where things happen. NASDAQ, Dow, S&P. Why is it so consolidated, right? And so having to theorize on that, well, typically when this type of thing happens, where has it happened before? And it's only happened in a couple of places. And one of those is like in the 1999 dot-com bubble, right? Are we in a tech bubble again? Are we seeing that, right? What is the Mag 7? Well, they're all tech, right? And what eventually happened when it came to a conclusion is that there ended up being a rotational top that happened out of the, we'll just call them the Mag 7 of 1999, right? And then you saw the Russell eventually be able to actually go into that moment right in there. But this is typically a major warning sign. And it's only happened like 2 times in history of this magnitude. And that was prior to the Great Financial Crisis. I guess, no, C19. And then this happened really exactly like this during the 1999 top. So if you go back and study. So I've written a whole newsletter on this one. I would recommend checking that one out. It's like titled The Rotational Top of Equities, and we dived into all of this. This is not expansion. These are all expansions, and this is what crypto's 4-year cycles and the fantasy of Bitcoin's block reward having being the catalyst has been attributed to, but it's actually been during expansionary periods of markets. So there should be we only can look at this. And why is gold ripping, right? There's probably things that are saying, yeah, it's probably going to be 10 years. And they think the thing everybody hopes for is probably that it's just a massive range and not a Great Depression. And when I say massive range, for a decade. But anytime this has emerged, it has typically met a horizon. It's not, it has typically, it has always met recessions on the horizon. Or in the event of like the NASDAQ pop, depression in the NASDAQ. And there's people who would argue we've been in a depression ever since the great financial crisis. We've done currency devaluation to try to make it seem like it's not. I can't believe I'm still pulling up charts this late into the game. All right. Right. This is the Dow Jones Industrial Average measured in silver. Right. Here's the .com pop, bubble pop. Right. So this is what our money used to be valued in. Then we started creating a currency where we can just print as much of it as we want. But when we go back to our old currency that we had in America, we actually popped long ago. And so when we've done these types of things in markets with things like the Russell 2000, where it's not doing this, I don't give a crap what any of your gurus are saying. I spend too much time in this. They argue otherwise. I say they're wrong and they're liars. This means something. And if you weren't paying attention to the market, and if you weren't paying attention to this channel last year, and then if you weren't paying attention when the Russell broke out, we said it. That's it. We got it. Let's go. And what happened? The crypto market ripped, right? It's very clear that there's a breadth issue happening in here. The breadth opens, the breadth closes. And we're tied to it. And you have a very clear deviation of this time is different. And that's what we have consistently said for the last year and a half. This time is different. But we're trying to navigate it the best we possibly can in here. And now you get the visualization to clearly see it. Because we said it all throughout here. This time is different. And now you get to see it clearly. It's different. So my theory for why it's different is that it is a rotational equity top similar to 1999. So if you have the capability to be able to do your own charts, then I would recommend going ahead and either reading the newsletter that was put out a couple of months ago. It was more than a couple of months ago. It would have been in October, maybe, the rotational top. But then go really study the behavior of the Russell 2000 versus the Dow Jones versus the S&P and versus the NASDAQ during the last 2 years prior to the top of the .com bubble. And what you will find is a lot of parallels between now and back then. So thank you, the Fern Child. Many Mitts. BC, I believe you can swap your IOTA in Exodus wallet. You just might have to swap into BNB first. Dude, let's go. Okay, cool. Do you believe or do you know? I appreciate it, man. I'm still 25 minutes behind. I can't believe it. Yo Pilot gives 10 memberships. Thank you very much, Yo Pilot. Sean Everett, what are we at the concert? And he follows it up with BCB XLM chat with sarcasm. Thanks for all you do. Wen Moon, hit the like button. Thank you, brother. When are we at the concert? What are you talking about, dude? Dude, oh my gosh. Am I fully caught up? Oh my gosh. I'm fully caught up. I can't believe it. Oh, XRP. You guys probably want to see that on the screen, right? Wen Frog. The music in the concert, BCP. There you go. There you go. A little bit of froggy. Green on the chart. Thanks for tuning in.
is Wednesday, my It is Wednesday,
Okay. Oh my. Longest live stream. We are going to hit 2 hours in 2 hour live stream. There we go. Now I get to get off this live stream, and then I'm going to go listen to what Dave Portnoy's craziness is, which I'm not participating in any of that stuff. He's going to rug pull everybody, which he did last night. But I was going to see what's going on with all that stuff. You had to wait 2 hours to get the frog the second time. So I don't know. Maybe, I was off yesterday because I had jury duty. So, maybe it was just an opportunity to get my thoughts off there. Because I did. I rambled for, 50 minutes before I even got to the chat? Jesus Cardano says, I remember 12 cents. Yeah, we've been through a lot. We've been through a lot. We've been through a whole lot. Night Shift says the XRP I just sold was stuff I bought at 10 cents. Yeah. Okay. Married to mixed chicks at 10 cents. Wow. Yeah. We went through some stuff. That was C19, right? Which I don't think it actually hit 10 cents. I don't think 10 cents was even hit during the lows. So you might be kind of maybe rounding a little bit. Like we didn't hit 10 here. We hit 11, and then we didn't have any 10s here. So you would have had to have been back over here in early 2017 for 10. But maybe you're just rounding from 11 right here when we went through C19 together. I was making YouTube videos at that time. I think I started YouTube right here. Right here. Somewhere around there. And this is how we started our adventure together. We got to experience C19 4 months after starting. What a ride. Here we are. Here we are, guys, 5.5 years later. But at least we're there, right? There's a 2. And that 2 has been on there for a long time. In XRP terms, that 2 has been on there for a long time. Okay. Crypto, what is your silverware exit plan? I was thinking about that recently. I think I'd probably sell a little bit at $70. I'd probably take 25% off the table at $70 of my silver position. So, okay. We gotta wrap it up. I'm tired. I love you all, man. I appreciate you tuning in here. I appreciate you choosing me over Dave Portnoy. I know it was a tough decision. I appreciate it. I don't know what else to say, but thank you. Oh, yeah, check out the newsletter. Super long newsletter put out there. It was a lot of work, very well received. I appreciate the kindness there. And that's going to be it for this one. Let me do this. I'll give you a frog one more time on the way out. No, we'll do it like this. We'll do it this way. This is always fun. All right. That's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like the live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.